well, are you a big fat bobblehead? And he's like, no. And I said, then don't worry about it.
I bet you did say it just like that.
I did. I said, just because someone says something doesn't make it true.
Oh, wow.
And that is, I think that for me, those have been words to live by with, especially as a parent. And then also as a counselor, when people come in with these narratives where it's like, how did you come up with that?
Welcome to the Leadership Currency Podcast, the podcast dedicated to helping leaders be free from the nonsense that keeps them from being their best self, centered around discussions about leadership development through the lens of ancient truth and timeless wisdom. And now your host, Dr. Doug McKinley.
Hello, my name is Doug McKinley, and welcome to the Leadership Currency Podcast. Today's podcast is an interview with a very observant, thoughtful executive coach and also trained in the art of counseling. Her name is Rachelle Mohns, and we're going to be just having a raw conversation about something that the literature is calling the imposter syndrome. And essentially, the imposter syndrome is this idea, we're not even convinced it's a thing, but that people struggle with the belief that they are undeserving of certain achievements and the high esteem in which they are already in. And so they don't feel as competent or as intelligent, or like if they were really known, people would realize they aren't all that. And so this interview is with Rachelle Mohns, and she's trained in graduate training in counseling. She's also been trained in executive and leadership coaching, and we've worked together for many years. And I just invited her to help me talk through this idea, and her observations were on point and very, very thoughtful. In one article I recently read, people were saying, stop telling women that they have imposter syndrome. So that was sort of the tone of this interview. I think you'll enjoy it, and our goal at the end is for leaders, all leaders, to really see their value and play to their strengths.
Welcome to the Leadership Currency Podcast. I'm joined in the studio today with a friend and colleague, Rachelle Mohns. Hi, Rachelle.
Hey, Doug.
It took a long time for me to get your name right. You know that, right? Do you remember? You probably have to do this with everybody, but I just butchered it. And
yes.
I'm like, I cannot mess this up. I'm like, but you were very kind, so thank you. Once I got it, it sticks now. So today, we're both a little nervous about this. We're going to be talking about something called the imposter syndrome. Neither of us are experts on this topic.
Correct.
And I believe Rachelle has a unique perspective on how things play out in people's lives. And I really want to share Rachelle's perspective on this topic with you, with my audience. So thank you again. Start, Rachelle, with telling us a little bit about your story. I know you're naturally, your husband and I talk about it, you're naturally gifted at understanding people and interact with them, but at some point you found yourself roaming into a counseling, a master's degree, graduate training in counseling, and ultimately became a hybrid of counselor, life coach, mentor. I don't know. What do you think of yourself these days?
An imposter. I think I'm an imposter.
Well, maybe that's where all this started for us.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I think when you asked me to do this podcast,
Is that right?
That was my first thought. Is he asking me this from a professional standpoint or because I am an amazing imposter?
Wow.
And I didn't know.
You really did?
Yeah, I did. But then in true Rachelle-like fashion, I went, well, why am I asking myself that question?
Yeah, good. I'm glad. I'm glad it didn't stick there too long.
Yeah, because it's an interesting topic, and I think that, I have adult kids that are in the workforce now, and seeing 20-year-olds making amazing money and kind of running the world, and you're like, huh?
They don't even know.
Yes.
They don't know how to do laundry, some of them.
Exactly.
So it's but they can do that. It's amazing.
So I think it's really, it's a great topic. And to answer your question about...
At one point, you became more formal with your actual understanding. You got in grad school and...
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just reflecting on this moment in time.
Right.
But in my story, which I think maybe is why you thought of me, where we met, how did I get into counseling? Well, that's thanks to you. So
I was just one.
Thank you for having me here.
One little click on the wheel there. So
I think it was just one of those amazing moments in time. I think Tim suggested I talk to you. I had been looking at counseling programs for a long time. It wasn't until my kids got into middle school that I was kind of just sitting there going like, how did I get here? And I cannot continue to do this. Like, these kids are individuals now.
Right.
They don't need me the way a younger kid would need me. I don't want to be that parent that goes down that route. And I reflected back on papers I had written in the past and books that I had read, and I looked for themes that I thought were true to me. And we sat down at a California pizza kitchen.
I remember like it was yesterday. It was so fun. It was fun for me too, just listening to you explore.
And I just through you listening to my story, and something that you do very well, you, in true Doug style, said, "Hey, I'm teaching a class."
Was I? Oh, that's right. I forgot that part.
You invited me. You said, "Just come to the class and see what you think." And so I did, because I trusted you.
They were live back then, though. I stopped doing them because they went virtual, and I'm like,
yes, they were live. And so I went to the class, and I have an undergraduate in business, and had really been looking more for a program that was more in business psychology, but the program you were doing was personal, like a personal counselor, and I had in my business program any electives I took, I had taken psychology classes, so I had all the prerequisites and was able to pop right into the program that you were involved with, and it wound up being an amazing fit for me. It gave words to something, as you and Tim would say, that I think I do naturally.
Yep.
I love learning, so I love the learning process, and if everyone could do a degree in counseling, they should, because I think that's where you do your own work. I mean, as the program requires you to do your own work. And so I think through there I kind of fleshed out a version of myself that is just on, I don't know what version I'm on these days, but, I got married, I had kids, I got a degree, so we'll see. So now I sit here with you today and talk about imposter syndrome, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, well, it's a cool story. It's still not written. I think you're still like a lot of us. We're all just sort of following a scent, and saying, "Okay, I like this. I'm good here." And I feel that way still. I feel like I'm a wanderer. I love hiking and I love wandering. So we put titles to things and categories, but I've watched you work with people, and I know some of the people you've worked with. You are really gifted at what you just said, giving people the gift of presence and listening. And you also have you're fearless about feedback. You just are willing to say what you see. It's beautiful. I want to be more like you. So I just told you something that's fascinating to me about you. What's most fascinating about working with people and helping them understand themselves better for you? What do you?
100% the stories. Yeah. And more so than the stories is I love listening to how people craft their own stories and tell their stories. And I think that's that little nugget of
say more about
magic.
That. What do you mean how they tell it? Like the words they choose, or the nonverbals, or what?
Well, the nonverbals is just
right.
That's the fun part, right? But I think words are super, super powerful. And I think if you listen to someone tell their story, you will hear how it was crafted, and you can sometimes hear, is that something you think about yourself, or is that something someone told you about you that you now carry forward as part of your story?
And I think you know the difference, but I don't know that most people do. How would you know whether I'm telling somebody else's story of me or me telling my own?
I think if you sit with a good counselor or a good coach, we can talk about the differences of those if you'd like, but they should be able to hear that and be able to gently guide you to just the cognitive dissonance between the things people say and go, well, help me understand how you said you were all of this belief system, but now you're telling me you're this. And I think imposter syndrome kind of sits
I agree.
in that.
Sometimes I'll hear people say, well, people tell me.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
like, okay, I could,
Yes.
fine. What do you say?
Yes.
And they can't do it.
Right.
It's,
They can't
it's
do
interesting. You're like,
Yeah.
what do you think of that?
Because we believe, and childhood stories that we're told are a big, big, big thing that frame who we are and what we think about ourselves. And two small stories. One, my son, when he was younger, playing out with the kids, and so he comes in crying. He's like, someone called me a blah blah, big fat bobblehead. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, and then as you kind of unwind what they believe to be true and whether or not it's true, that's where I think that little.
Did you go through some of the training that I did in narrative coaching with David Drake?
I did not go through that, but I did buy his book because I like books.
Okay, we talked about it, but
Yes.
he has this thing where he said all stories are fictional.
Yes, they're all fictional.
Even the ones that you think are
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
They're all made up
yeah,
through our own narrative lens, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, a lot of people don't like that because
Yes.
they want to know I am good at this.
they want to know this or they want to know
That.
that, and the truth exists in the gray.
Right.
And I mean, and I don't have statistics on what we witness to be true. And in counseling, like trauma is a big thing with that. Whether they're major traumas or even minor traumas. A divorce or changing schools, and anything that just kind of shifts
Right.
that identity, right? And I have a really good example of where I kind of woke up to it. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I fell in a well when I was little, right?
I remember something
Yes,
about
yes.
that. Yes.
So I was in my early 20s when I realized I have no memory of that. I carry that story around. I'm claustrophobic, all this stuff I've made up, right? And there are other reasons that probably is true. But I realized it was my mom. My memory was really my mom's memory.
Right.
Constantly hearing her tell this because it was very traumatic for her. I was too young to really know what was the danger that was involved. But she told the story over and over. And I heard myself telling someone this story, and I realized the perspective that I was telling the story was from her. And so I really had to kind of go back and think, well, what does this story really mean to me now? Because it was an identity. It was a part of, oh, well, Rachelle, well, you fell in a well. I'm like, well, what is that? So I think that stories are really, really powerful. And I think the stories we tell ourselves are often influenced by, obviously, our adult parents, grandparents, whoever were your primary caregivers. And unwinding whether or not that is their story that you've been carrying along, in which case, so what's your part to the story?
And what story? This sounds. I know we're getting too deep for some people, but is that the story you want to continue to believe?
Is that the story? Yeah.
That you fell in a well and you're claustrophobic.
Yeah. Well, I did fall in a well and I'm claustrophobic, but I'm not sure that's why I'm claustrophobic. But that, again, that's probably deeper than we need to go with that. But
Yeah,
it's just that taking on someone else's story.
Right.
And we have so many of those from our childhood, or, when we're young, and the how your parents tell you who you are, or even just think back to when you have a little kid. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, let's go through the play school toys that you can be a police officer, you can be,
It was an accountant, lawyer, or doctor when I grew up. That's my three options.
Is that what was given to you?
Was told to me, yes.
Yeah.
That was the option. Those are the three that will lead to, a white picket fence
Yeah.
and 2.5 children.
Yeah. And what if you didn't do that? Then who are you?
Exactly. I was, I actually really wanted to be a high school gym teacher and wear sweats to work every day and
Yeah.
coach basketball. But
Yeah.
but I never could shake the idea that I couldn't provide for my family or my
Right.
lifestyle that I wanted.
Right.
So I never pursued
Right.
it. Someday
And
maybe I
that's
will.
just a social construct that
Right.
families that we kind of grew up in, it's like, these are the paths you go on. And
Yep.
all different cultures do it. All different people do it. But sitting there and going, why do I believe what I'm saying? Why? And just how do I relate to it? Like, they can be factual things, but it's really how you relate to the story. And then I think David, who you talked about,
David Drake.
well, yeah, like he really does a good job of re-narrating it. It's like, okay, well, what else could be true of this story?
He's so beautifully. He just really does, and he believes it. Like he believes you could, because they're all fictional. Why
Right.
would you continue to to live by that story when you could live by this story?
Right.
It's like, well, it feels like I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, isn't the story the story?
Is it? Like that's,
Exactly.
I mean, it really is a mind shift. It really, really, really is. And it takes wanting to do the work to be able to engage in that way.
Yeah, the book's called Narrative Coaching. I don't know if he has other books. This is for training people like us, but it's a great book. You can probably find articles by him too. David Drake,
or
called
videos,
Narrative.
maybe even a podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Narrative. It came out of the field of there is narrative psychology, so
yes.
there actually is some basis for it. So, all right. So that's what you find most fascinating. What do you find most challenging about working with those same people?
Change. I think people are resistant to change, and so they come in and they want something different. That's usually the motivation to come in, right?
Right.
And then in that 50-minute magical session, they're everything that they want to be, and then they go out and the social
And
constructs that the social constructs that they live in, as well as just they pull them back to what is comfortable to the storyline that they're in. It's like, well, this is who you are to me, so therefore I don't accept this change that you're trying to make.
Yeah, it's regression to the mean. It's the execution people. The Covey group calls it getting sucked into the whirlwind. Your day job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I think I love the change part of it because I feel like I'm a change igniter. But it does get hard when people say they want to and then they don't.
Yeah.
And then blame you because it didn't happen.
Right.
That's
right. Right. Right.
You're not a very good
Or the ones
coach.
that come into counseling and they want a prescription for how to do it. It's like, well, you got to do the work would be good.
Well, I am. I'm here. Let's do the work. Get it
yes.
done.
Give me some worksheets. That's not the way it works. So.
Yeah, I think humans are we're just somebody on a call I was doing yesterday said we're just weird little beings.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm like, I am.
Yeah.
I'll raise my
Yes.
hand. We're peculiar people. So
Yeah.
it's hard. It also is what makes us interesting. So that's
Right.
why I love the fascinating part as well.
Yeah.
All right, let me read this because I love how this conversation went into narrative coaching. I didn't even think about that at the time, but I'm going to read a definition. It's very casual, so I'm not. Well, we're going to talk about what we think about this,
Okay.
but this is a definition about imposter syndrome, and it's loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So they put this fancy word syndrome on it that I want to talk to you about in a minute, but it goes on to say it disproportionately affects high achieving people, which I find interesting, who find it difficult to accept their accomplishments. So many question whether they're deserving of the accolades they get. All right. So have you noticed this pattern in people in your conversations? Let's talk about, is it really a syndrome or is it something else? What does Doug and Rachelle think of this? Even
I
though
don't think it's a syndrome. Do you?
I don't even know what a syndrome is. What is a syndrome? I'd have to look it up.
I guess I think that. I don't know.
I
I'm
don't-
not going to get into that because you have some people listening. Oh, yeah, no.
Well, I don't think if I have an autopsy, they'll find one in me. You know what I'm
No,
saying? I
no.
feel some of these feelings sometimes.
Yes. But just because we feel something, again, that's a story we're telling ourselves about something that, to me, that's kind of like that pivotal moment. It's like once you feel, it's like that's your moment to write that story, right? And in work, relating this to imposter syndrome and the definition that you gave with the high performers and stuff like that, we start out in these roles, right? And they're roles. They're just work roles. But we do get all the accolades. And we do get the criticism. And we do get known for being something. That I think sometimes a shift happens and we start to identify with that. And we should be able to pull back, like kind of like I mentioned about that conversation with my son. Just because someone says you're an amazing blah, 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 is that true? And even so, is that true if I compare you to the other, hundreds of thousands of salespeople in our industry? Like, or is this just this one little moment in our business where you get the trophy and now you're like, I'm the man or I'm the woman, and they're just things we make up. I don't think it's a syndrome at all. I think there's social constructs that we work in and live in, and
that's so interesting. I have a story. I think it was really germane that I don't know if I've ever told you this, but when I first started practicing as a psychologist, I was here in the Chicago suburb, and my personality, I'm very extroverted, and I think I'm friendly, and I actually enjoy people. So
yes.
I would walk through the facility that I frequented, and being myself, I was nice to people.
Yeah.
I started hearing a story about me. Psychology and therapy is private.
Yes.
But they started saying, "Oh, you want to work with Dr. McKinley? He's really good." I'm like,
right.
They have no idea whether I was good. All they know is that I brought them candy.
Yes. They liked you.
They liked me.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately reinforced my syndrome, which is need to please.
Yes.
And because they liked me, I'm good at really hard stuff.
Right.
With kids in hospitals and suicidal kids, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I was really struck by that.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that for 30 years.
Yeah.
But
that's something you heard, again, back to whether it's when you're a kid or in your job, your roles, like you get these, I watch, you get little emails and you pick out the words, whether they're critical words or they're positive words. And I think the question you ask yourself is, why? Do I believe that to be true? I believe that to be true about myself?
I don't know how you felt after you got your graduate degree, but when I got my second one, the doctorate degree, I could not feel more small.
Oh, wow.
Because now I got the highest degree, but now I'm a nobody.
Now I'm a nobody with the highest degree.
Right,
Who's going to listen to me?
I'm the rookie. And in this time when I was trying to build my practice, people are saying that I'm looking around and I know half the room are way better skilled than I was at that point, because I'm a 29-year-old wannabe.
Right.
And it was, you did it later in life, so you probably didn't have that imposter. I had an imposter syndrome a little bit of sorts, so I wasn't buying the ink. I knew I had to do the hard work.
Well, I also think probably when you went through that, the world was a different place, and like it was. I think the thing that you bring to the field is the true gift of sitting with someone as a counselor or
in person.
And just listening.
Yep.
So just because someone was better, like you can look back now and go, well, so and so was way better than me. They had all the right terminology, but no one wants to sit with them. No one likes them.
Well, that's
So
you're really right. I mean, a lot of what we do, you and I both know that we're not. Just the gift of presence and attention it's priceless. I don't know.
Because the work, back to your question about, what's hardest to work with people, I'm just here so you can hear your own story.
Right.
And kind of help you kind of sift through what's not making sense to me from an outsider's point of view, but it's for you to kind of craft that and for you to come to terms with why you made the decisions. What have you contributed to where you got to be today? There's a reason you did the things you did, right? Mm-hmm. Like whether they're good or they're bad. And just absorbing the whole story, where you mentioned earlier, people like, I want the this or I want the that dualistic thinking. One's right and one's wrong. Yeah. And that's
a whole nother topic. We got to do a podcast on that one, because you and I are both reading intensely in that.
Yeah.
So I had a very practical thing happen this week. I'm doing a small group coaching thing online, and I'm working on feedback.
Okay.
And there's in the group, there's 4 participants and me. And 2 of the 4 said, I'm not comfortable with compliments. 6-figure salary plus
Yeah.
people. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm like,
Wow.
what is that about?
Yeah.
Because I hear that more frequently than I think I would
Yeah.
at places I work.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, is that part of imposter syndrome? They can't receive a compliment. I understand that it's a little awkward, but I actually like to hear that people feel like something I'm doing is resonating.
Yeah. Well,
What would you say about
I would
that?
have an opinion on that, but
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a Rachelle opinion. I wouldn't.
I'd love to hear a Rachelle opinion. Is it called arrogance, or where are you going to go with
No,
that?
well, one, I actually had to learn to take a compliment.
A lot of people do. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I did have to learn that, and through my learning, which, as you know, I love learning. I kind of just, fleshed out why that was, and one of the components for me is, as you know, with the disc, like I kind of probably sit in that pocket of being a C, and for me, if
I
it's
still don't believe
if
it, but
it's
yes.
not authentic. It's like, why would you say that? It's just fluffy words. I would rather not hear it.
Got it.
Now, that really, what's the foundation for that for me? That's a trust issue.
Right.
Yeah. So, but if
Let's assume it is
if
from
it's-
somebody you trust. Then is it easier to accept?
maybe for me now, but I'm trying to kind of look at that high profile person. You asked, is that the question? Like, is that imposter syndrome? Can I not receive the compliment because I don't feel validated by
Doubting
it?
our abilities and feeling like a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a connection there because it just happened 2 days
Yeah.
ago to me. I'm like, is this what Rachelle and I are going to talk about?
Yeah. I would think that there'd be something in there. I mean, not as in a syndrome, because
yeah, we both
we
agree.
both agree that that's not really
It's
a
just
thing.
a story,
But
is all it is.
It's like, what about it about you? So it would be like someone who's more of a D on the disc could easily step in there and be like, it was C+ work, but we rocked it. We got the ball over the end line and we win. Someone like me is going to be like, yeah, but this happened and that happened. And
Right.
I would be looking at the negatives. So I would dive more into why can't you receive the compliment?
And a toxic D would say, you're just now figuring that out.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think receiving compliments, I 100% agree. If it's somebody that's has a personal agenda, they're
Yeah.
trying to take something from
Yeah.
you. It's not insulting to me, but it's like whatever, But truly, if somebody says something affirming, and you go,
Do you think that it could be part of someone who comes from, let's say, a performance family, or what grade you got, how you're performing,
Right.
that to get they don't,
they didn't earn it.
they didn't earn it.
Yeah, we're going to go into these
Yeah.
5 things that the research
Yeah.
came up with. So let's just jump
Maybe
there.
maybe we'll find our answer, Doug.
Well, I don't know if we'll find an answer. I
right.
find it fascinating that the people at the level I get the privilege of working with,
Mm-hmm.
the success they're having, that still can't handle a compliment. I'm like, that's really interesting to me. So
Yeah.
I think you might be right. It might be related to number 1. So I forget where this came from. It's a movement on imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Research.
The Muse.
The Muse.
Yeah.
Is that the newsletter or?
I don't know. I looked it up because you sent it to me.
Yeah, so this is informal, but I feel comfortable that there was some research done and these 5 things came up. It was a book written about it. That's what it was.
Yes, Dr. Valerie Young.
There you go. And so I'm assuming that's a she. She said these 5 types of imposter syndrome show up. The first one is perfectionism, and that's what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, I think somebody just said this to me the other day. If I go out and I want to, bowl a 200 game and I bowl a 180, I'm upset.
Right.
Because I'm like,
Right.
a 180 is really
Right.
good.
Right.
Like,
That's right.
but he was there to bowl a 200. And so that's not going to happen. And if it doesn't
Yes.
work exactly as they imagine.
Right.
So is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think that people who set a bar at a certain thing, if you don't, and maybe we all do this in an area
Sure we
that's
do.
important to us. Because I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist according to their, but I've at times been like, I got the A, but I'm like, nah,
It was easy.
It was like it was easy, or I wish I would have done something different now.
So, but what that is, it's about what kind of reporting grade card do we use for ourselves?
Yeah.
How do we self grade?
Right.
There's somebody has a term for that, but how do we measure success? I guess
Yeah.
for ourselves, well-being.
And do we come from that family where you get the report card and it's like all A's and B's and one C, and they
Right.
start out with, well, why'd you get a C?
Exactly.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, we all have to come to grips with that.
Yeah.
What kind of I would say, I had a conversation with two people this morning, and I tend to keep the bar low and try
Yeah.
to over
Yeah.
exceed. I don't set the expectation too high, so if I do get a 180, I'm thrilled.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is that because people may have sometimes said that you overpromise and underdeliver?
Well, in that case, yes, to
Have you-
others,
have
but
you
not to
changed
myself.
it?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I do that to myself. The other way I do for everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Yeah, I do. I
So you have one
Under-promise.
paradigm for yourself and another paradigm for all the rest of us.
Yeah, because I'm an imposter, so I can't do that to
Yes.
others. That's not very nice.
Yes.
So I have to deliver for them, but not for
Yes.
myself. Yeah, I'm working on it right now. I've never felt like some people you and I both know, like I have to be the best at anything.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to
No,
be a
you're
4.0. My daughter
Yeah.
was a 4.3. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's that?
Why?
Right. And she's like, I have goals, Dad. I'm like, I tried to bribe her into getting a B once in high school, and she.
Oh,
thought-
that's funny. I
she
did
thought these
something
lessons-
similar with Madison.
Of course, we're playing with
Yes.
our children, the poor kids, and she just couldn't believe it. She goes, "I've got goals."
Yeah.
She wanted that medallion
trophy,
or whatever
yeah.
you wear when you get
She's
dressed.
an I, though.
But discipline. She's got
Yeah.
her mother's.
Yes.
Stick to it.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't want to disappoint myself because
Yeah.
I disappoint so many other people
Yeah.
that don't want to do that to me. So I lower the bar.
Yeah.
And that's the narrative that I choose to believe. And at this point in my life, turning 60, I think I'm raising the bar. I think I expect a little more of myself right
Yeah.
now, and it's kind of it's intriguing.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, and I think that, I don't know if anyone or some people who know you have seen you recently, and I think that you've
pushed on that one.
you've pushed on that one. You've tackled some demons with your food, and you look amazing,
Thank
and
you.
like that's got to be a huge narrative shift because
It was-
whatever was, yeah,
Massive. You are so on point. People, even Jana doesn't really. She knows now, but
Yeah.
it's massive.
Yeah.
That was a lie. I believed my whole life. I'll just
Yeah.
always be pudgy. I was called Pug when I was. That was
Right.
my nickname. I was
Yeah.
Pudge. It's
yeah,
a story.
yeah.
I wear husky jeans.
Yeah.
I'm a husky guy.
Again, that's a social construct. Just creating husky jeans did that to how many people?
Oh God.
You know?
Should I sue him?
Yes.
Probably-
Yes.
You got that? It's like, hey, that's their fault.
Yeah.
I am so free from that right now. I really believe I'm going to sustain a much. I think
Yeah.
I'll sustain my weight, but I think certainly a, sizable
Yeah.
perspective on this
Yeah.
is resolved.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I did it. People ask me, I'm like,
Right.
well, I don't know. It took 40 years, so you figure it out.
Yeah. I think the whole thing about this whole imposter syndrome, Doug, is just, it's like we're clearly all playing roles. It's what we do in life too. Like
Right.
we accept a role. It's like when I accept a job, I didn't accept something who I am. I accepted something I wanted to try and what I wanted to be. And so to then feel like an imposter is really put together by, how the corporate constructs of like what it takes to be good at this role. But as soon as we start identifying that the role is me, and you hear this like when you're younger and you go out, like, it's nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Rachelle. I'm a counselor.
Right.
I'm a counselor and a lot of other things, but I don't like give you everything else, right? So
why not throw out the roles? Why don't we just try to be better humans and take accountability for the things we're responsible for?
that's a whole nother topic too.
Wouldn't that
like,
be beautiful?
Yeah.
If we could abandon the roles.
Yeah.
But people need
accountability, like,
Yeah.
because truly people are hiding behind some of these roles.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just a very broad topic and very, very interesting, but I think the answers are found in deeper questions we have to ask ourselves.
just-
how do we get here?
Just summarizing, we're not the non-experts are saying
Yes.
it's really not a syndrome. It's a narrative that we choose to believe about ourselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes we feel insecure about those narratives because they trap us. Like
Yeah.
my weight, I will always be overweight.
Yeah.
I just believed that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
The second one was what in the business world we call it heroic leadership.
Okay.
In the book, she called it Superwoman, Superman.
Okay.
And the way I hear it, very commonly used now is that we all have to be have superpowers and rescue the thing. And that's now the literature is exposing it. That's because we aren't really doing the work.
Yeah.
We're just coming in and we have to save the day because we didn't work Monday through Thursday. Now we have to be a hero on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
In some cases. So heroic leadership is being called out for
Okay.
the first time.
That's
It's beautiful.
interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And all the books I'm reading, they're talking about it. And some people sabotage the daily work so they can look like a hero.
Yeah.
Which is really perverse. But
I saw that. I saw weird things like that happen when I was younger. People doing things to create a need for them
to be the hero.
to be the hero and to just not lose their job because computers were getting bigger. It's like,
Yeah,
or
when you watch those dating movies,
Yeah.
somebody, okay, let's fake an accident and I'll save an
Yes,
old woman.
yes.
It's been around forever. It's
just weird to think that people do that.
they do.
Yeah.
I would say it this way. I don't know that they are that intentional. Some might be.
Yeah.
I think most of it is just part of the narrative.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, there's some that
Yeah.
just truly are
Yeah.
either sociopaths or whatever, but most of them I think just they've always been told they can save the day.
Yeah.
So they come in and
Yeah. And
athletes,
create a situation where they can prove that narrative to be true.
some athletes are great
Yeah.
at the ninth inning home game
Yes.
and they're terrible at the rest of the
Yes.
games, but they
Yes.
somebody told them they're good at it and they believed it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's really interesting.
I forget. Do you remember the study in your classes about the brown eyes and the blue eyed students, and that they lied about their testing scores, and
Oh, I don't
just
remember
by
that
the
one.
impression of if you had brown eyes, you were in this side, and you were
Yeah.
all high achievers.
Yeah.
All their test scores went way up, and
Yeah.
the other eyes, I can't remember which color because
Yeah.
I'm not a detail person. They went down because they were told they weren't the bright students.
Yeah. I
It's just-
believe that to be
It's
true.
what this is. It's just
Yeah.
the narrative
Yeah.
constructs that you're
Well, the
talking about.
whole deeper thing with all of this, honestly, Doug, is we're seeing just happen socially in general, because the narratives are all written from
Oh yeah.
a certain perspective, and so there's a lot of imposter syndrome because I obviously don't fit that narrative, right? I think one of your guests that I saw here earlier, like she's a perfect example of that, of someone who doesn't fit the typical corporate, but she's that person. She's just also managing a family, and
She talked about that
so-
openly about how frustrating that was
yeah,
for her.
very, very interesting.
Yeah. So that is I haven't gotten to that topic yet. This is as close as I've gotten as the imposter syndrome, but it's coming. I'm developing the courage that I have a right to speak into that space, or at least interview people. So I've got some people lined up. Maybe I'll have you back. Talk about diversity and the social justice, all that's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
It needs to be talked about. And
yep,
so Superwoman, Superman, perfectionism, natural genius. I have it. One of my children have this. They've always been told that they're really, really smart.
yeah,
And this particular one of my children, people that know me would know who it is, but they've never believed that, and it's been crushing to them that they've been identified in that way.
Yeah.
Because they personally haven't feel like they've lived up to that.
yeah,
It's been, and I'm sure I contributed to it. We're still working
unwinding
through it.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. And so if there's people out there that are told you have this natural, you're a genius or whatever, and it's as I understood it in the article we read, it just, I think it is it's another kind of one of these lies. A lot of life successes I've had nothing to do with being brilliant. It had to do with being courageous.
yeah. I
Taking
think you're
risks.
going to see this one play out recently coming, and you can edit this out if you want, from the whole STEM and creating this type of learning for kids where science, tech. What would the T be?
I forget, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's certain academic arenas that
math.
Yeah.
And kids just taking tests and getting really, really good at tests, and they're the top because they're getting great grades on all
STEM
these
schools,
tests.
right?
They're
They
STEM
separate
schools,
kids out,
and then they get into jobs and they get a great first role, but they aren't critical thinkers. So they can't think outside of the box, and but they identify with having been told, but you're all this stuff, and you got all the best grades, and you had all the highest classes, and you get to go to this school, and you get to be all these things. But
and what if they want to play the guitar?
Right.
What are they going to do? Right.
Yeah, and a lot of now it's STEAM, so they brought the arts back in, and but like we're whole people, but that is a social construct that we push people into because, I guess in society we have to have order, but I don't know.
Well, order, and also we want master craftsmen in certain areas, and some of them will serve very well. But you and I both know a lot of them will not fit.
Right.
They'll be very. I was terrible. I was a terrible fit with traditional academic.
I remember you
arenas.
telling the story about not wanting to staple your paper in the corner because you didn't like the teacher.
That was in college. That wasn't even high school. I would take the grade lower just because I thought that was stupid.
Yeah.
I still think it's silly.
Yes.
Not,
Well, and it actually is. It is stupid. Like that doesn't. How you staple your paper has nothing to do with
the story was, for those that are listening, that there's a professor that I had to staple across the top corner left of the paper, not straight, and she would knock a whole grade off who did it. So I just turned it in crooked the whole time because I'm me.
But I love that. I mean, I still remember that story because I'm someone who I like to color in the lines. I'm comfortable coloring in the lines, and through learning more about myself, through doing the work of being a counselor, I've pushed myself outside of that. And
I didn't meet that Rachelle. I met the one that is like me.
I think I'm both. I think I'm actually both.
You are.
I know. I'm sorry.
You are. I enjoy that part of you. That surprises me actually. Education needs help in this, particularly for the natural genus. Mm-hmm. Then the soloist. I've said for years that doing life alone is dangerous.
Yeah,
and it is. I used to say for men, it's also dangerous for women. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can't isolate. We can't just pull our bootstraps up and make everything happen. And movies are made about it. Books are written about it. Yeah. We know. So
it'll also affect your leadership because if you can't really ask someone for help and you're doing all the work, how are you going to ever move out of that role? I mean,
you won't. You'll be an individual contributor.
Right.
And a good one, probably, but alone.
Yeah. You'll do really good work for yourself.
Right. And wonder why you're not getting promoted.
Yes.
And I actually have people like that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you have as well.
Yeah.
And then the expert, I think you and I both shy away from this. I like to refer to it as I have some expertise, but you'll never hear me say I'm an expert on anything. Because I suppose there are some, like, who would you think of as an expert? Like, I can't even think of anybody.
Yeah, but if you look at this, like what this is about, of being an imposter.
Yeah.
I do these things. It says, are you constantly seeking training and certifications? Do I do that because I don't feel like I'm good enough? And we do know some people who are constantly, I have to have the next degree in order to be validated. For me, I'm just a very curious person. I love learning to a fault, Me
too, but I do have, we call it a licensure paranoia or whatever. Yeah. I want to be certified so that, I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's silly. Well, I still have my
and
my
who
psychology.
says the
I still have my psychology I'm doing CEUs right now.
Yeah.
And my wife's like,
yes.
What are you doing that for? Leave me alone. It was hard to get it. That's my lie I'm choosing to believe. It took me a long time to get it. I'm going to keep it.
It's just very interesting. And part of it is you have to keep up on that stuff to feel like you're doing the right thing, to have the credentials in your field according to.
But I haven't practiced clinical work in 20 years, so that's why I'm like,
there
is some transferable skills. I'm not talking about coaching. I'm talking about psychology.
But that's a good point, Doug, because that's an identity that you're holding on to.
This is the truth. legally, I can't call myself a psychologist
Yes.
if I'm not licensed.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I like that title. I still, I fancy that construct.
And you don't often, I mean, I know that you have your doctorate, but you don't refer to yourself as, oh, yes, I'm Dr. McKinley.
No, but I still like to, I don't know. It's a story.
But every
that I
now
like.
and then you should like it. I mean, it's a great accomplishment, but I don't experience you as someone that's your identity.
It's not. That's
But
why
for
it's
some
kinda
people it
silly.
is.
I know. I've
You
had
and
a
then
lot.
there's the hiding behind it.
I had a lot of therapy and coaching, so I think I was on my way. I think I could have easily been that guy.
Anyone could.
Sure.
I mean, that's a lot of schooling.
It is.
So
Yeah, it is. And the medical doctors I work with is 3 or 4 years beyond what I did. I did 11 years after high school, and they're
Oh,
like
wow.
13, 14
Yeah.
with the fellowship and stuff.
yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. So I have some. What would you suggest people can do if they find themselves, forget the word syndrome, but they find themselves resonating with how we framed this? Any suggestions, wisdom, resources? I wrote down therapy, coaching, mentor, books, articles, podcasts. Anything what do you recommend? What do you think would help people?
Well, in a perfect world, one of the things that I know that you do, and many coaches do, are something called assessments. I love assessments. I think assessments are the key to unlocking some of these questions you're really asking
That's
yourself.
a good one. Yeah.
I think the problem is many coaches and or counselors, and definitely the corporations I've seen, don't have the right people in place to help the person understand the assessment.
They just take
it's
it and-
looked at like the report card situation we talked at before.
Right.
They pinpoint the one thing that's negative instead of sitting in kind of that. Because a lot of coaching, I mean, another part to this that I would say is really important is know the difference between a counselor and a coach. And there's different kinds of coaches. Like some coaches are there specifically for the corporation's bottom line. They're there to help you set goals. They're here to keep you on track. And then there's development coaches, someone who's there to kind of for your personal development. And there are some companies that do invest in the development of you as an individual that is portable. You get to take it with you.
Right.
It's not about this role that you're playing. And so seek out the right people to, kind of come alongside you and just figure out the answers to your own questions.
I meant to look up the podcast, but there is a couple of podcasts on imposter syndrome. I think it's by the lady that wrote
Is it by
Presence?
Doug McKinley?
No, I didn't write that. There's a book called Presence,
Okay.
but I'm forgetting the name. But there are a couple of books that are useful. That
Okay.
Podcasts are great.
Yeah.
I think it's whatever your learning preference is. Find something that you enjoy that you can do part of your daily routine.
Yeah.
But I love assessments. They can be very helpful in helping you remind yourself what you're good at and not good at, or what you like and don't like.
And a lot of the assessments people are taking, like I tell you answered it.
Right. But it could be from the lies that they believe. So
And that is
It's part of the
creating that
narrative.
space of, if you don't agree with this, let's talk about that.
right. That's why you have
Like
to have
push
a coach.
back.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that if people would use coaches in that way and feel safe that they could actually go, well, I said that because this is, like you said, this is what I believe. And then the next question is, well, why do you believe that?
Yeah. One of my great mentors in assessments told me that assessments don't lie about you.
You
your
lie.
interpretation of them.
Yes.
Actually, they said the therapist or the coach does.
Yeah.
It's our job to pull out what's
Yes.
accurate and not accurate.
Yes.
Because that's just data. It's just
Yes.
algorithms.
And that's part of that is the skill that, having a degree can't teach you. It's something that you have naturally. It's something that you're great at.
But practice can. You can get good at it.
You can get good at it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Rachelle. I don't know if we've helped anybody, but it was certainly an interesting conversation. I love the shift. There's two things I like. One is the shift from syndrome really isn't a helpful term.
No.
Think about it as a narrative. And then the idea that you really can, I believe, I think you do too, we can rewrite the narrative. I am at age 60.
Yeah.
I'm rewriting my narrative of my physical self.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to regret the 40 years that I did it, but I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
And I think that's really about being able to hold both. You need to hold the fact that you have believed this,
Right.
and there was probably you created it to be a reality at one point, like, where you were heavier or were
Right.
not eating well. So that was also true.
It
And
was
that's
true.
okay. But it's in the past, and now you're creating a new narrative.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. If this podcast was encouraging, motivating, or provoking in useful ways, would you be willing to share it with someone you know who might need to hear this conversation? A review on your favorite podcast service is also always appreciated, and we'll see you next time.